Okay, sorry for that technical hitch that we experienced there. So thank you so much for being a part of us today. Our topic today is how self-awareness is able to impact our mental health. So this is Psychoeducation on Salem Consultants. My name is Anne Karambu Mwangi. I'm happy to be here today. I'm a counseling psychologist. My prayer and desire is that we have been able to just impact each other, and we can be able to learn on this platform. And I believe during the sessions that we've had on this platform, we've been able to learn and, of course, become a better people. So today we are looking into how self-awareness, or just that aspect of being able to understand and know who we are, impacts Okay. I hope we are getting to hear each other well. So I was saying that today is how self-awareness, by getting to know ourselves, how does it impact our mental health? So of course, we begin by describing self-awareness again. It is the ability to recognize and understand your own emotions, thoughts, behaviors, and motivations, and how it plays a crucial role in mental well-being. So we are talking about the ability to understand your own emotions. Remember, the greatest impact on even behavior, how we feel, how we behave, it is our emotions. Then the other one is that our thoughts will inform our emotions, they will inform our behavior. And then, of course, being able to also understand our motivations. What motivates you in life? What is this that is your drive? And of course, how it plays a crucial role now in our mental well-being. This also allows us to manage our emotions, make informed decisions, build healthier relationships. So when I am self-aware, my relationships are going to be better. Therefore, then my mental health also is going to be well taken care of. So when I do not know who I am, when I do not understand who I am, when I do not understand my place or even my emotions, I don't understand my thought process, I don't understand why I behave the way I behave. And I remember when we were talking about self-awareness, I said, there is not statement like I don't know what happened. But to realize it's a statement we use so often. When things, especially when things go wrong, we easily say, I don't know what happens, or I do not understand why I did what I did. So this is how self-awareness, of course, positively impacts our mental wellness. So remember, when I am self-aware, I can be able even to manage my mental status. So the first one, it is improved emotional regulation. Understanding emotions, self-awareness helps us identify and label our emotions, which is the first step in managing them effectively. And we will be doing a continuous assignment. So maybe just explain or write for yourselves 3 emotions that most of the times you find yourself mismanaging. 3 emotions in your life that you most of the times find yourself misusing. We are talking of things like anger, frustration, anxiety, apprehension. We are talking about, of course, emotions of excitement. So 3 emotions that you find yourself mismanaging. It reduces, of course, reduced reactivity. By recognizing emotional triggers, you can respond to situations calmly rather than reacting impulsively. You realize one of the things that causes sometimes outbursts of anger or aggression or even abusive language. It is when we are not able to recognize emotional triggers. So I have never identified my emotions, so I don't know how I react or how I behave when particular emotions are triggered. And therefore, then I tend to misbehave, or I tend to do things out of anger. I tend to do things out of emotions and not really being able to explain the why I am doing what I am doing. And remember, this has to do a lot with being able to be self-aware. And self-awareness begins from being able to understand all the way from where did these thoughts come from? Where did I get these thoughts? Where did I get these beliefs? Why do I believe that I'm not good enough? Why is it that I look down on myself? Being able to explain all those things, that is self-awareness. And sometimes it calls for us to be able to go all the way back to when we were younger, so that we can be able to understand who informed those habits that we find ourselves being in or doing them. The other part, of course, of improved emotional regulation is stress management. So when I find myself in a stressful situation, so being self-aware, my stress levels are going to be reduced. Or even when I'm in a stressful situation, I will manage it better because I understand my emotions and I even know how to regulate them. I know how to behave when I am in that stressful situation, or I know when to step out or step aside or not engage because I am understanding. I am able to know who I am. And I remember when we are talking about this is very high level of emotional intelligence. Many people are not able to reach this place. The many disagreements at home, many disagreements even at work, relationships that break, so many things that happen in our lives are caused by lack of emotional regulation. I am not able to regulate my emotions. I'm not able to understand the emotions of other people. And therefore, then I find myself, my emotions flaring up all over the place. And it's like I'm hurting everybody in the process of relating with the people. The other part, of course, is enhanced self-confidence. So I become more confident of myself. And of course, I will also have high self-esteem. So the second part of the impact of self-awareness on our mental health is enhanced self-confidence and enhanced self-esteem. So what causes this is, number one, self-acceptance. I'm able to love myself. I want us to take this opportunity as part of our conversation here on self-acceptance. I want you to write 5 statements that you can appreciate yourself with. 5 statements that you can appreciate yourself with. 5 statements that you can appreciate yourself with. One of the things, of course, interacting with people is I've realized is that it is very easy to appreciate other people. It is very easy, even for those of us who are parents, it's very easy to appreciate maybe even a child. It is very easy to appreciate a friend. But sometimes it is on very rare occasions do we appreciate ourselves. So today I want us to take this opportunity to do 5 statements that appreciate you. I hope we've been able to do that. The other part of self-esteem and of course self-confidence is authenticity. Authenticity. When you know yourself deeply, you can live authentically, aligning your actions with your values and beliefs, which boosts your confidence. So you can be authentic, you can be original, you can live your path. And even when you're doing something, you're doing it from right within your heart because you're so confident of your values, you're confident of your beliefs, and you're also confident of your ability. Again, because this is self-development and we want to achieve this personally, I would want you to just put in two words or 2 statements that define you. 2 statements that define you, that if you're put in a group of 10, what is different about you in that group? 2 statements that would make you unique from the others if you're put in a group of 10. I said 2 statements that would define you if you're put in a group of 10. The other part of self-confidence, of course, how our self-confidence is enhanced is growth mindset. So recognizing areas for improvement encourages personal growth and resilience. So because again, we are in a continuous learning process, I want you to write 3 things that you will do as part of self-improvement. 3 things that you will do as part of self-improvement. 3 things that you will do in the next week before we meet next week on Tuesday. 3 things that you will do for self-improvement. So we are talking about growth mindset. So I don't meet you 10 years later and you're thinking the same way you were thinking. In a month's time, especially those of us who are on these psychoeducation sessions, in a month's time, people are supposed to see change. People are supposed to experience transformation. People are supposed to be able to see how we have changed. The third aspect is that we are able to make better decisions. We become better decision makers. So it is easy to make even personal, organizational, or even decisions or family decisions. So we have clarity of values. Our value systems are clear. So I'm not wondering whether I am supposed to do this or is this one wrong or right? And especially for the aspect of like matters of godliness. I don't have to worry whether am I supposed to receive a bribe or not? Is it okay to add even my professional fee exorbitantly because this person has more money than the other one? Is it okay to bribe? Is it okay to maybe be entangled in a relationship with an unbeliever? Is it okay? When I am self-aware, I will have clarity in values. I will not be mixed up when it comes to having values in my life. Of course, there is reduced impulsivity. That is by understanding your motivations and triggers, you can make more thoughtful, intentional choices. You will not just do things and you're sitting down there and when someone asks you a question, you're like, I don't know what happened. I don't know who did that. I don't know how I found myself there. I don't know what happens to me. That statement is a statement of a person who is not self-aware. There should be a way we can answer every single aspect that happens in our lives, including how maybe you failed in an exam, or how you used your day. The next aspect of better decision making is that you are able to solve problems. Self-awareness allows you to approach challenges with a clear mind and a balanced perspective. So when I am solving problems, I don't personalize it, so I don't self-hate. I also don't hate other people. I understand this is a problem. It needs to be solved. But also I want to leave this person feeling better. I want to leave this person feeling okay, not feeling like I have hurt them in the process of course, definitely being able to solve that particular problem that happened. I hope we are understanding this. So we are saying, by being self-aware, I will become a good decision maker. I will have clarity in values. I will not be impulsive. I find myself just doing things for the sake of doing them. I will also be a good problem solver. One of the things I feel like we are lacking, especially in our nation today, is people who are willing to solve problems. It's like we are experts in creating problems rather than becoming problem solvers. And what the world is looking for today is one person that can be able to solve the many problems. Oh, I pray that many of us that listen to this, we will become problem solvers. And of course, therefore, because we are problem solvers, we will be paid for it. And those are opportunities, of course, that will give us even opportunities in this life. Healthier relationships. I will have healthy relationships. I'll not be meeting with this person today and tomorrow we are fighting and I have a problem with my brother, I have a problem with my sister, I have a problem with my mother and my father. When I go at work, I have an issue with workmates. That is such a troublesome situation, and it is an indicator of a person who is not self-aware. Maybe allow me to just quote a quote my mom used to really quote so often when we were growing up. She would always say, treat people the way they are. And I found her, of course, relate with people so easily. And I believe it's because of that particular statement that she would put. And I want to believe it is as a result of being aware. So when you are self-aware, you will not want everybody to be like you. You will understand them from the place they are at. You will be able to relate with them at the place they are at. So you will have healthier relationships. And one of the ways of having healthy relationships is empathy, being able to fit in the shoes of a person, being able to understand a person from their perspective and not wanting them to change so that you can be able to accommodate them in your life. The other thing, of course, you'll be able to set clear boundaries. One of the things that makes us hurt in relationships is when we don't have boundaries. We allow somebody to step on us, say anything about us, allow them into our space, and we are not putting any boundaries. And of course, when those boundaries, although we had not put them, when they are crossed, we get hurt. And then we therefore now have strained relationships. The other thing, of course, in issues of relationships is that we will be able to handle conflict or resolve conflict effectively. We will not personalize conflict. When I am having a conflict, I will not name that person and call them as we are solving conflict, but I will be able to separate the conflict or the difference from the person, and therefore then we will be able to communicate effectively. So again, because we are doing an exercise as we are at that, write 3 relationships that we intentionally intend to mend. 3 relationships that you intend to mend. Maybe they have not been working very well, but you want to mend them so that your relationships become better. 3 relationships that you would want to mend. The other aspect is that there is reduced anxiety and depression. This is how I define anxiety. Anxiety, and this is my definition. Anxiety to me is when I have something within me that maybe I know is right, and there is this other thing that is happening outside, and it's not able to reconcile with my inner self. The opposite can also be true. There is this person I have become because I have grown, and because maybe I have never dealt with my childhood pain and traumas. There is this inner child that keeps showing up. So reconciling this inner child and this outer adult brings anxiety. So every time I am trying to, or a situation faces me, and it triggers the inner child that has never been sorted, anxiety comes, because I feel like this person, this outer person that I have become, has been threatened by this inner person that I have never resolved. I hope you're understanding that, my own explanation. The other part, of course, is depression. I will have reduced depression because now I can be able to solve emotions before they become, I extend them for a long time and I end up hurting myself. So one of the ways, of course, of reducing anxiety and depression is that I'm able to identify negative patterns. If there's a negative thought that is in my mind, I can be able to stop it before it gets to a place where I am feeling depressed. Or maybe it is even criticizing myself. A critical statement that is in my mind, I can be able to arrest it before it affects me. Then, of course, I can have a proactive coping. When I hear triggers, I hear something that is triggering my emotions or emotions that are in my, I have affected me in the past, I will be able to counter them very fast. The other one, of course, is mindfulness. That is, being self-aware is a component of mindfulness, which has been sought, of course, to reduce symptoms of anxiety and depression. So I will be more aware of what is happening in my mind. And my mind is emotions, feelings, and thoughts and beliefs. That is my mind. Emotions, feelings, thoughts, beliefs. I will be able to look into all that when I am self-aware. The other aspect is that I will have increased resilience. So when hard times come, I will be more resilient. Or I will know how to handle those emotions now when they come. I will not allow them to overwhelm me. I'll become more adaptable to change. Sometimes when you're not self-aware, when change comes, there's a lot of resistance. You want to remain in the same place, and you can imagine how that limits our potential. Then again, I will also have being able to learn from experiences and not looking at failure as challenges as failure, but looking at them as opportunities. Look at how many opportunities you might have lost just because you were not able to learn from those experiences. Again, because we are doing an assignment, I want you to go back to something that happened, a hurtful situation or a challenging situations that has happened to you recently. A challenging situation that happened to you recently. How did you manage your emotions? how are you adaptable to the situation? And what lessons did you learn from the experience? So the next aspect is that we get greater life satisfaction. So we are more satisfied with life. We live a life more purposeful. We live a more purposeful life. And purpose has to do with serving others. Purpose is not serving ourselves. So purpose is not having a lot of money, buying a big car, living in a big house, and all those things are important. But then purpose is connected to service, or purpose is connected to the impact we cause in the lives of other people. That is what brings meaning in our lives. And then again is that we are able to align to our goals. Now we will not keep doing back and forth. So because I am more self-aware, I can set clearer goals. I will have reduced inner conflict. I will not be I'll not be in a place where I'm not believing or trusting my emotions or understanding what I want to do. So self-awareness now becomes the foundation of holistic wellness. It is the foundation upon which holistic wellness is founded. And when we are talking about holistic wellness, we are talking about wellness of the physical body, wellness of the mind, wellness of the spirit, or even our social being. How do we relate with other people? How is our physical health? Are we ever having headaches because we are depressed and anxious? Are we having joint pains because there's all this anxiety surrounding us? Are we always maybe even having stomach ulcers because we have not been able to resolve bitterness and pain and unforgiveness in our lives? That has to do with physical health. Do I lack sleep? Am I able to eat well? Can I be able to enjoy a whole night's sleep? How do I relate with people? That is social wellness. How do I relate with God? When we are not self-aware, it becomes very hard even to interact with God. Because sometimes even when the promises of God that are written in the Bible, or the things that God has promised us in his word, we are not able to receive those promises because we imagine that those promises maybe have been written for someone else and not us. So the other aspect, of course, again, of holistic wellness is now mental wellness. So I will be okay. My emotions, I will regulate my emotions well. I will be able to regulate my feelings, and therefore my behavior is going also to be well regulated. So we will also be able to, I think we've talked about intellectual wellness. So when it comes to study, comes to understand, or even being a critical thinker, I will think critically without judging myself. I will not judge my own thinking or my own understanding. I will not also judge my creativity. I will be able to capture it well and serve it to the world. So that is intellectual wellness. I will be a critical thinker, creative. I will be able to have a continuous learning. I will want to learn new things. I will have that confidence to do that. And then, of course, even at work, I will be able to work well. I'll have balance. I will not overwork. There are people who are workaholic. One way of managing stress is work. So I indulge in work as I run away from the problems or the challenges that I am going through. That is a lack of self-awareness. And then it will be easier for me also to grow professionally. I can be able to move from one state to another. I can become from one position in leadership to another, because I have been able to grow and have accepted myself. I don't know when we hear self-awareness, what we are getting, but I pray that we will be able to be intentional in getting to understand me. And just in line or in connection with our conversation today, I wish we would do, we will intentionally go and write, I don't want to call it an essay, about myself. Who am I? How do I relate with people? How do I relate with myself? How do I manage my emotions? Why do I relate with people the way I do? The very recent relationship that ended up not working well, what was the problem? What was the cause? What happened? How did I find myself there? So how does now being self-aware enhance our mental wellness? We can be able to connect into our mind. We can be able to connect into our emotions and feelings and body. We can even listen to what our body is telling us. Sometimes when you're not self-aware, even taking time to rest becomes a problem. You work. Even when the body is telling you now we need to rest, you still want to work because you don't want to be judged as lazy. Yet you're the one who is feeling the fatigue. And of course, even as we talk about this, remember, in some cases, all those things I've mentioned might be very overwhelming. You may not be able to handle them alone. And that is where now the place of a professional counselor comes in, who can be able to take you through that journey of self-awareness, or being able even to appreciate yourself, of being able to see, like those statements I was saying we write about ourselves. There are some people, when it comes to them, it is very hard to even talk about them or mention them. So allow me to just leave that conversation there. I feel like there is a lot in terms of what we need to do on that topic, so that we can be able to maybe have a discussion next time to get deeply into this aspect of self-awareness and how it impacts our mental wellness. And above all, how does it make us better people, more productive? Remember, we talk about becoming a better me on this platform, of course, on our psychoeducation. So we want to become a better version of who I am. So how can I be able to become that better version? So thank you so much, Amy. I think you can come in and bring in the questions if there are any. And then we'll also have an opportunity to hear comments maybe from those who are with us on Zoom.
All right. Thank you so much, Madam K, our very resident and consistent counselor, for giving us these amazing teachings and discussions, and just giving us an opportunity to go back and ask ourselves the questions that are important. And today you have really given us a number of assignments, and maybe I can just say them once again so that people can remember what they are. And the first one was to write down 3 emotions that you have mismanaged. The second was 5 statements you can to appreciate yourself with. The third things you will do as part of self improvement, and 3 relationships that you intend to mend. And finally, you write down a challenging situation that happened recently and how you did and how you feel like you managed it, whether you managed or mismanaged it as well. And I believe the final was to write down about yourself, who you believe you are, and just to answer those questions that really find this difficult sometimes to understand who you are. So here today we have some questions, Madam K. Maybe you can just answer them and let us know how to go about them if they occur in our lives. The first one reads, I often find myself struggling to communicate, especially in new relationships, which makes me stay away from forming friendships. I know this, but how do I fix it?
In terms of communication, there's a lot to do with personality. Different personalities communicate differently in a new environment. An extrovert will want to understand, an extrovert will be easy in beginning a conversation. An introvert will want to understand people first before communicating. So when you understand who you are, then you will not mind whether you're taking longer to communicate or not. But when you are not self-aware, you will want to compare yourself with other people. And this is what happens a lot. When we are not able to maybe make fun, laugh, and do the things that other people are doing, we start misjudging ourselves. So that is why then we need to know ourselves and understand ourselves, and therefore then we will be comfortable with how we blend in with people without really feeling judged and finding it difficult to relate. The other aspect is you may be, the reason as to why you're not able to connect, you may be in the wrong place. When you're self-aware, you will know the kind of space that you feel comfortable. So therefore, you will also be able to choose the right place to be. The way God has created us, he has created us in a way everybody will be comfortable in a certain space. So if you're feeling uncomfortable in that particular space, you might be in the wrong place. But also that aspect, of course, of personality needs to be considered.
So you need to understand your personality type and the personality type of that person that you're interacting with. And also, if you know this, then you will not really worry whether you're doing it taking longer or not. I think that's a wonderful answer and one that is going to actually help some people in forming and keeping their relationships. The next one was, I was diagnosed with anxiety disorder. I keep getting worried about getting worried and anxious. What do I need to be aware of to help myself and others around me? Because I find that I tell people and it makes them act strangely around me.
Uh, Anxiety disorder, on most occasions, I think just as I was explaining the issue of anxiety, it is an imbalance in terms of the reality of things. So I might be either I went through something that caused fear, something maybe that reminds me, or a trigger that reminds me of some pain, or it might also be that aspect where I was talking of, I have not dealt with my childhood trauma. And therefore, there is this person that I have become, and I'm not able to reconcile the two. Now, if I were to answer this question blanketly and say this is what you're supposed to do, I might not give a true answer. So the answer is seek professional counseling, because the causes of anxiety are different. what is causing you anxiety may not be what is causing the other person anxiety, and therefore then you may require to go to the root. Unfortunately, even if we are given the medication that sometimes we are given for anxiety, medication alone without therapy is not able to solve anxiety. In fact, okay, it is going to lower the effects of it, but as long as it's not combined with therapy, therefore, I am able to reach into the core issue, or what is this cause of this anxiety, then I may not be able to heal fully. And therefore, then I would advise, even if you're on medication, please seek therapy.
Get professional help. All right. Here is another one that reads, I have been told time and again that I am too intense in my friendships and relationships. I feel bad for deeming myself to fit in. How can I keep my relationships and stay true to myself?
I would want to hear the definition of that intense. What is this intense? What is intense? What is intensity? I am waiting to hear what is this that is intense.
I believe it is how they show up in the relationship, I suppose, because this is feedback that they have received from other people in their
Is
relationship.
it like becoming too attached, or becoming too dependent? I want to believe, okay, allow me maybe now then to define it that way.
Okay.
How we relate with people is highly dependent on our needs. So what is your need? And remember, this is all about self-awareness. What need is this person satisfying? So if you have maybe a need of abandonment, you were abandoned maybe when you were younger, and therefore when you find someone, is like you have become clingy. Remember, this friend might not be aware that this is your need. And because now you become too clingy and attached, the person feels irritated. So if you hear such comments from people, it's good to, especially if you have a true friend, it's important to allow them tell you what is being intense. What is this intense you are calling intensity? So let me explain it as need. Most of our relationship, or the how to we relate, especially when we have not healed and when we are not self-aware, we will find ourselves attaching ourselves to people according to our need. Maybe let me give this example. So a child maybe who grew up without a father might be looking for a father figure from a man. This is a girl, maybe looking for a father figure from a man. The man might be, who did not grow up with the love of a mother, may also be looking for a mother figure in a woman. So you can imagine, I am in a relationship thinking we are in a mutual relationship, but already somebody has called me a mother, or someone has already seen me as a father. And therefore, even as I'm showing up in this relationship, I'm inadequate. Because according to the interpretation of the other person, I am supposed to be a mother. And me, I'm showing up as a friend. So the need to be self-aware means a lot, because then, and then again, the other part of finding ourselves attracting people who are wrong in our lives because of the needs that we have. So maybe you have a need of being accepted. And sometimes you may find people who just celebrate you because that is what you want to hear. They are not genuine, but because this is what you want to hear, that is what they will offer. And for you, you are very close or attached to this person, yet the person was not even interested in you. It is just that they wanted to take advantage of this particular need that you have. So that person, I would really recommend that you define the need. In every single relationship you find yourself in.
Part of being self-aware is also being able to define the need that you have and whether this need is from a place of trauma or a place that is healed. Wow, that is something definitely for us to work on. And I think these assignments that you have given us today will really assist us in going back into those places that maybe feel uncomfortable to address, so that we can know whether we are from a healed place or from a place of a need that is coming from a trauma response. Wow, thank you. I know last time you answered a question similar to this one, Madam K, but for the sake of this person, can someone ever finish being self-aware?
Self-awareness is a continuous process. You've never been a grandmother, so you will need to be aware of how you will behave as a grandmother. You've never been a CEO, so maybe you may require to understand how to be one. You've never been a president, so when you become a president, you need to be aware of that space. So self-awareness is a continuous process.
Well said. Straight to the point. Wow. Okay. A continuous process, and life continues, so does self-awareness continue. Maybe to answer the final question and just to welcome any comments and questions from the people we are with here on Zoom and on Facebook, so that we can get to interact with your questions as well. The final one that we have on our end is, how does someone know if they are self-aware or not, and that lacking it hurts and affects themselves and those people around them?
Kindly come again. I lost you a bit.
All right. The question reads, how does someone know if they are self-aware or not, and that lacking self-awareness hurts and affects themselves and those people around them?
One of an indicator, the greatest indicator of lack of self-awareness is how we manage emotions, both positive and negative ones. How do you manage anger? How do you manage anxiety? How do you manage excitement? How you manage those emotions explains a lot whether you are self-aware or not. If every other time things happen to you and you respond, I don't know what happened, then it means you don't even know how you live. The other way of knowing that you may be having a challenge in matter self-awareness is when you have so many unhealed relationships. Every time you begin a relationship, it breaks. And I'm not talking about a romantic relationship. It is you have a problem with your siblings, you have a problem with your parents, you have a problem with your workmates. When you go to church, you have a problem with everybody in church. If you have a relationship problems, there is a problem with self-awareness. Most of the times we want to blame those people we are relating with, but on most occasions we are the problem. Of course, another issue is when if challenges happen, hard times happen in your life, you cannot be able to move on with life. Your life stops. It is a wake-up call to tell you you need to now sit down and fight yourself. Because, as we said, challenges are part of life. We are supposed to be so self-aware that we have resilience for adaptability and be able to cope with the challenges that happen around us. So maybe those are some of the indicators of how we can know we are not self-aware. There are some, not all.
Wow. Thank you for that, and just posing the challenge on ourselves this time around, and not for us to just look at the other person all the time and think that it is their fault or that it happened the way it did because of the other party, but to just look inward and to remember that self-awareness is a continuous process and one that we ought to prioritize so that we can have lasting and loving relationships in our lives. I believe that from my end, the questions are finished, and maybe Madam K can give it back to you. And thank you so much for this particular discussion this evening. And my name is Amy Njambi, a counseling psychologist at Salem Consultants. Asante.
Thank you, Amy. I don't know whether if there is anyone who has a question or a comment. I kindly would really want to hear a comment or a question from you. It will help us to know whether what we are saying is getting to us or we might be teaching ourselves, me and Amy here. I can see Pastor Lars there. I can see Miriam and she. I think we can hear all of you say. So I think Pastor Lars, you can unmute. Since we are not many. Okay, sorry. Miriam.
And am I audible?
Yes, very audible.
This is just to appreciate the good work that you're doing. I think I've learned a lot. I've written down the 5 points. And the 5 points I would want to tell myself about, and especially even the group psychology, where when you're most of the time when you're in a group, we tend to demean or make ourselves small. But I think I've just tried to, even as you were talking, I was trying to see the perspective I usually have towards myself in a group. And I think I'm taking it in a different perspective. And I have seen some of the things I contribute even to make a teamwork, the competitive nature that I have. Yeah, I really do appreciate the self-awareness class, and I pray that I'll be consistent even in attending the Tuesday meeting. So may God bless you. I am glad that I was able to attend. Asante sana.
Thank you, Miriam, and thank you also for bringing that group aspect. And imagine in every single group, the strength of everyone is needed. But you can imagine now when I imagine I am nothing. So therefore, I'll be denying the group the resources that I'm carrying. So thank you so much for that perspective. She you can unmute yourself.
Yeah. Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, I think my highlight of what I've learned today is kuandika the 5 statements that I can appreciate about myself. Actually, nimeandika more than 5. Yeah, and it was so insightful. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and thank you for being a part of this, and those others who are watching us online. Thank you so much all the time, and thank you for your feedbacks. We are here to become better. And remember, these resources that we are receiving here is not for you alone. It is yours and the people around you. So that I want to believe we can be able to raise a generation of people who are mentally fit, people who will raise mentally fit children, children who are more aware, self-aware, and you can imagine the resources that we carry deep within us. Then we can be able now to share this to the world. So it is always a pleasure to be here, looking forward to seeing and hearing from all of you next Tuesday. God bless you and have a blessed night. Thank you.